Okay, everyone, now we're going to move over to Twitter and we're going to talk about some tools that you can use to monitor how your Twitter presence is going and what sorts of your content your followers are liking. So first, as you can see, I'm just on my Twitter homepage. The first thing that we're going to do is go to my profile. So if you click on your little icon up here next to the tweet button, you can click on that and hit profile. Now the first thing, so now we're on just the Twitter profile. This is what it looks like to people who are following you. The first thing I'm going to show you is right up here, right under your cover photo. You can see how many people are following you. So this is kind of your first stop as far as how your Twitter is doing, just how many followers you have, if your followers are growing or if they're shrinking, that sort of thing. So you can kind of see at a glance up here how many people you're following and then how many people are following you. So if you go ahead and click on this followers tab here, you can actually see who all of your followers are. So if you scroll down, you can see the different types of people who are following you. So if you want, you can go through this and start to see maybe some similarities. So for example, since this is the Health Sciences Library Twitter, we have a lot of higher education people following us, like this UCF Jacksonville alumni. And then we also have some medical professionals following us, like this Mehul Patel. And you can kind of scroll through and see the different types of people who are following you. If you want a little bit more data, the best thing that you're probably going to want to do is use your Twitter analytics. So the way to get there is you're going to go up here and click again on your little icon. And then down here under Twitter ads, you have analytics. So you click here, and this will open up a new tab, and it'll take you to your analytics page. So the first thing that you're going to see up here is a 28-day summary of just how your Twitter is doing. So it shows you how many tweets you have in the last 28 days and how that compares to the previous 28 days. So for example, we tweeted 11 times in the last 28 days, which is up 10% from the previous 28 days. It also shows you your Twitter impressions, and what that is the number of people or the number of times someone sees your tweets. So the number of times that a tweet of yours shows up in someone else's news feed and they see it. So for example, we got 4,705 impressions in the last 28 days, and that's up 20.5%. You can see profile visits as well and your number of followers. And then if you go ahead and scroll down, you can start to see your stats for each month. So we have October, which is we're only in 11 days of October so far, so I'm going to take you down to September. So you can see your top tweets, which basically are the ones that have the most impressions and the most interaction. So the most people who have seen it and the most people who have liked and retweeted it. So this is our top tweet, and then this is our top media tweet, which is just a tweet that includes a photo or a video or something like that. In the summary for each month, you can also see kind of a quick glance what statistics you kind of racked up for the month. So for example, it shows you how many tweets you tweeted, the number of profile visits that you got, the number of new followers that you got, how many impressions you had, and then the number of times other people mentioned you during that month. So the really cool thing about this feature and this page is that you can start to see what types of tweets are getting the most views for you. So you can maybe try to start to see some similarities in the types of tweets that are in your top tweets. And then you can start to curate your content based on that. So for example, we have one of our top tweets here is a picture of our students. And if you scroll down, you can see that one of our top tweets in August was a picture of an event that we had for our students. And then if you keep scrolling, in July, one of our top tweets, or two of our top tweets, were events that we had for our staff. So that tells me that a lot of people are interested in seeing event photos and kind of the specific events and people that are visiting our library. So I can start to tweet more about that and maybe get even more impressions. If you scroll back up to the top, you'll see that this is our home page. And then if you go over here to the right of that and hit the tweets page, this kind of really gets into the nitty gritty of how exactly each of your tweets is doing. So if you're interested to know um, how a particular tweet did, this is the best way to see that. So for example, you can look at our most recent tweet, which is about National Medical Librarians Month, and I can see that this one tweet got 279 impressions and it had 14 engagements. And you can also see what the engagement rate is for that tweet, which is basically, I think it's the engagements divided by the impressions. So the number of people, or the percent of people that actually engaged with that tweet who saw it. And you can really dive in and kind of figure out what sorts of content get the most views. And one really good way to do that, instead of just looking at each tweet, is to look at your top tweets. So this shows you, if I click here, your top tweets based on your impressions and your engagement for whatever your time frame is. So right now we're looking at the last 28 days, but I actually want to take you back to February through April to show you an example. So if you click here, you can, so I think it only shows you about 2 to 3 months at a time, so you can't look back at your entire year. But if I want to take you back to February of this year, and click on the first, and then that takes us to May 2nd. So February, April, May. So that's about a little over 2 months that it'll show you at a time. And then you can update that. And now we'll start seeing those top tweets from February to April. So it shows us 3 months at once, February, March, and April. And this is where you really start to see the power of using popular hashtags. So our most popular tweet in this time frame was just a Valentine's Day tweet, and that probably was because people were looking at the Valentine's Day hashtag on that day. And then you can also see our second most popular tweet had to do with kittens, and there was a picture of a cat. I mean, that's always popular on the internet. And then our next most popular tweet was for Match Day. So we used hashtag Match 2017, and that's also a very popular hashtag. So you start to see that the tweets where you're getting the most views are ones where you're either tweeting about very popular topics or using really appropriate hashtags. All right, the last thing that we're going to look at here is the audiences page. So if you go back up to the top next to home and tweets, you'll see audiences. If you click here, this is cool because it shows you the very specific demographics of your followers. So for example, you can see the exact number of followers that you have on every particular day. So you can see certain days where, for example, between Wednesday, the 20th of September, and Thursday, we lost a couple followers, but then the next day we gained a couple. So you can kind of see how your followers are fluctuating based on what you're tweeting. And you can also see the top interest of your followers. So this makes a lot of sense because most of our followers are medical students and higher education institutions and medical practitioners. So we have science news, technology, health, mind, and body, politics, current events. Some of these make a lot of sense, but you can kind of see laid out what interests your followers have, what types of tweets they look at, what types of tweets they retweet and like. And then you can start to curate your content based on that. So for example, since I know that our followers like business news, business and news, maybe I'll tweet about current events that are happening in the business realm, or maybe the business of healthcare, that sort of thing. So you can really use this to curate your future content. And then if you really want to as well, you can look at some demographics for your followers. If this is appropriate to you, for example, you can see the gender. We apparently have a slightly higher female following. The languages that they speak, for us primarily English, a little bit of Spanish. You can see what country they're from and their ages. And you can also see what region they're in. So this can be helpful. For example, we're primarily in Florida because that's where our medical school is located. But say if you realize that you had a high population in California, maybe you might want to post about events that are happening there, that sort of thing. So overall, the analytics page, all the pages on the analytics tool can really help you kind of see what's going on with your Twitter on a very granular level, and can help you curate the content that you're going to post so that it more uniquely matches the interests of your audience.